Hello and welcome. One of the finest actors in Indian cinema that we have been privileged to watch, Kamal Haasan has portrayed thousands of roles to brilliance to consummate perfection. In recent months, he has in fact donned a new role, someone who is a political conscience keeper, almost like a watchdog. And he has now announced that he will enter politics and in fact start a new political party. I and my colleague Sam Daniel are privileged to chat with Kamal Haasan. What is the kind of timeline that you're looking at? You've made these announcements. There is huge expectation.
My pleasure talking to you. The timeline is something that media is trying to force on me, which I'm unwilling to accept. There should be a time limit, but I'm not willing to commit to any date right now because the roadmap and the plans ahead is not easy. Especially for a rookie like me. So I think you should give me that time, be kind and not push me to commit a date. Because the previous interview, they kept throwing so many dates at me, so I had to settle down and say maybe. So maybe doesn't mean that's the exact date. I'm unwilling to commit a date because there's a lot of work, prep work to be done. It's like a film's release. Unless you're sure of all the post-production and everything, you cannot commit to a date. Later on, I'll have to withdraw my word.
Right. If you could fast track to 2018, 2019, or even 2021, elections have just got over to the Assembly in Tamil Nadu. Do you think we would then be talking to you as the Chief Minister designate?
So once again, I'd like to properly translate my English interview into Tamil, because with due respects to my Tamil media, they have conveniently translated it to make shiny headlines. I never said anything like that. The purpose is, I know who should not be there in power. People will have to decide who will come to power. And we, if at all we form a party and go, it's not about fixing the end game and then starting it. We'll have to go by process, convince my people what is right for the people in general, and then talk about who's going to be the chief ministerial candidate. It's almost juvenile to talk about it now, and they have made it sound like I had made that comment. I want to become a chief minister. It's a wrong way to start. It's like saying I'm making a Silver Jubilee film.
You're starting on a fresh slate, and that's something that's a huge advantage given the kind of goodwill that you have. But 234 constituencies we're talking about, are you thinking of fresh faces all over? Are you inviting people into it, or are you saying people from other political parties may also join you?
I'm being very careful. Fresh faces are very necessary because I like no contamination. Contagions abound in this politics, and I am thinking of fresh faces, young people, qualified people, not those who like me or those whom I like.
Is that something that you take even from an Aam Aadmi party? I mean, that's the kind of a model that showed us a new way of politics almost when that election.
Yeah, that needs a lot of will, passion, and guts to go that route. I will take all the good that I can garner from various parties, good and bad. I am doing that. So what I'm doing now is going around meeting people with experience, good and bad, those who have succeeded in implementing certain plans and schemes and make it work. These are the people I'm very keen to talk to and understand. So it could be, instead of reinventing the wheel.
What prompted you to take this leap from Kodambakam to Fort St. George? In a sense, you're joining the list of actors turning politicians.
As you would have noticed in my past, I was not a very keen political aspirant. I was reluctant because I thought the need might never arise. But I always kept my vigil and kept watching what was happening and voicing at times. But then slowly we slid down the path and have hit a rock bottom now. And this is what prompted me. Like most other people who unanimously became political. Tamil Nadu became unanimously political and angry at about the same time.
Are you talking about a Jallikattu? Are you talking about post-Jayalalitha, the space?
Not only that, this has been happening for quarter century now. It's slowly building, and people were actually looking for ways and means to address this malady. And finally we made this thing. It's a brave decision, but it's not a reckless decision.
For years now, Tamil Nadu was only chosen between Two-Leaf and the Rising Sun. Is there actually a space for a third new entity to rise as a political force of something that's effective in this space? Or do you see yourself actually aligning with these main parties at some point?
As I told you, I'm worried about contagion. So it'll have to be a fresh, sterile environment from which the new leaders will rise. I'm not saying leader, I'm using the plural word because that's the only way to run it. People will have to run people's schemes.
Many would also say that Rajinikanth, your friend and colleague in the industry, decided first to enter politics or to play an active role, and you got inspired by him later?
No, because that's another path, actually, and mindset is different. As you would have noticed, even in films, we have set our own path, and it's very wrong to compare that competition and bring it about. It's almost vulgar for me to use that comparison. The similes of the film industry will not suit a political system, because this is not about who of the two wins. It's about how do you make people win. These names don't matter.
And have you had a chat with him?
Yes, I have, but it's very casual, not even as brief as...
What was his reaction?
No, this just to inform him that I am coming in. So as a friend, we've always, major decisions, we informed each other, good or bad.
Critics would say Kamal Haasan is too intellectual. He has many ideas, which does that able to relate to the masses, relating to the masses. Of course, you're extremely popular as a hero. This mass versus class that they talk about when they talk about the
Once
two
again,
heroes.
it's vulgar to compare cinema and thing. And if you think Gandhiji is mass, then I'm mass. If you think he's class and intellectual, then I'm intellectual. If you think Ambedkar Saab was an intellectual and spoke on those levels, then I am an intellectual. If you think he sort of garnered a huge mass that no other politician was able to do, then I am a mass.
The other big difference has been you've been very outspoken, took a stand on several issues. Mr. Rajni may not have. Do you regret that? I mean, there is trouble whenever you take a strong stand on issues. People get after you. Probably you have been criticized more after your the statements that you made recently than Mr. Rajni's entry, where he said, I would ask my fans to follow me.
I'm not looking for fans or followers from the group that populates Fort St. George. Of course, there are other good people. The army holds Fort St. George. There are other good, great soldiers who also have a place in that. But I'm talking about the political lobby there. I am not looking for a fan following or friends there, so I don't care. I offer my criticism not because I want to, because it's there. It's obviously staring at me right in front of my nose, and it has to be said. If I don't, somebody else who's a pedestrian and is as sensible will bring it about.
You're actually playing already the opposition role. I mean, you've spoken about dengue, you've spoken about corruption. Many of those issues, perhaps, what we expect the opposition to talk about.
I think it's a duty of the people. They're busy going about their life, and hence there is an opposition making that noise. But the time has come that you don't know which is the opposition and which is the ruling party. It's all coagulated into one sort of a mess. And it's a culture that they've developed which has to be readdressed. That's what I'm looking forward to, with the help of people who are much, much younger than me. They are going to be my teachers.
Do people take actors seriously in politics now? We have had veteran Sivaji Ganesan not being so successful in politics. Recently we've had Sarath Kumar and Vijaykanth not doing that well. What is Kamal Hassan's single biggest contribution to Tamil Nadu that people should take you seriously as a prospective politician?
I've been honest. I've been working for the people quietly, without any of these aspirations of ever wanting to come into politics. For 37 years, I've been running a band of people who are not more than 5 lakhs. But they've all been doing work in their little way, with their money, not seeking help from any other outside source. They use their money, sometimes my money, which was only part of what they actually spent. I've been their leader for some time. It is not a fan club run by my fans. It's a movement run by me and my friends. And we've been working on it. We've been doing social service, been blood donation, eye camps. Even we tried education for elders for some time. And we have done very many awareness programs, working with people. We worked for AIDS, we worked with AIDS-afflicted children, and these gentlemen helped me a lot over the 37. Some of them have been there all these 37 years and grown with this thing, and they are trained to take on politicians without confronting and getting the job done. Now they might have to take them on.
You spoke about contagion, and you don't want to kind of in any way pollute what you are beginning right now. But going into elections, cadre is something that's very important. Do you have enough time for that? Considering the way we are going, it seems like it could be tomorrow, it could be day after.
No, if I'm not ready, it's not sensible thing to jump into it and make a fool of yourself. But the fact is, instead of saying who is going to win, I know who should not come. Even people know that. People who aspire to come back to power will not be there. Let me assure you on behalf of the people. About me, I don't know. About my plans, I don't know. I know what the people are planning for these people.
You've been very sharp about the corruption in this particular system, and you believe that this needs to go, this present dispensation, very pointedly, if I may say so.
Yes, it has to go, and it is. I'm party agnostic now. I'm not talking about just them. Right now they are in power, right now they're doing it. If similar culture comes back and they continue, my criticism will be equally vociferous, whoever be the party. Because this is not party-centric, leaning to left or right. This is leaning toward the people. My leaning is towards them. It's forward, not sidewards. Towards progress for people.
People are also, in a sense, equally guilty of accepting money for votes. And what will be a message?
I've been already talking to them, and I'd like to reiterate that if they think that they're being clever and they've struck a business deal with a corrupt politician, I'd like to inform them they've been cheated even there. Because what they think is 5,000 rupees, a big chunk of money for one day, but divide it into so many thousand days, 5 years, it will amount to about 90 paise per day. That's what they sold their livelihood and future for. And because they are accessory to the crime, they have no right to question them. That's the arrogance with which the politicians treat them also. When there is a question, you saw some of the telephone conversations they've had with some of their voters. It's because they paid them. They're paid hands. And you got yourself into that kind of a bad deal for 5,000 rupees. What is due to you is probably not 5,000 rupees, but 5 lakhs that you could earn through the year. And you've gone and sold it away for 5,000. Just don't jump at that quick money. Wait and earn your 2 lakhs, 1 lakh, 50,000, whatever you deserve. Then what right have you to call him a thief when you started it? That is going to be my argument, and the promise is that their lives will become better. It's easy to convince a businessman with this logic. It's going to be a little more difficult convincing a poor man, promising him something that's there in the future, that's bird in the bush. But whereas he thinks this 5,000 rupees is bird in hand, but that bird might soon die.
Because that habit is actually sunk too deep, isn't it? I mean, for us to be able to get away from it so quickly, I mean, it's like election means money in hand. That actually may go against you if you're already saying, I'm not going to give money.
No, I'm not going to pay. That won't happen. So you can reject me even now, but I will fight, because I fight for people. And there are people who are willing to vote without money.
The other thing would be, if you're in politics, if you want a political party, you need money. And from what we understand, or from what your friends also would suggest, you're not sitting on coffers of money that you intend to put up. So will that, how do you see the road forward then?
Talking of coffers, when corrupt politicians empty coffers, who do you think fills those coffers? That's where I'll get the money from. People. People constantly, regularly refill emptied coffers that's been stolen by avaricious politicians. They keep refilling. Be it a millionaire businessman, billionaire businessman, where do they look for the money? Not from another billionaire. They look for that money from the people. Be it Mr. Ambani, Tata, Birla, name the big names. They all look at people for money. And that's where the money is, and that's where I look for it. And that's why I will take lessons from a party like Aam Aadmi. Because
what kind of a partnership do you
there's
foresee?
no partnership. They've been kind enough to accept my state of mind and my belief. Their only, affinity towards me is I talk similar, in a similar tone. My tonality matches theirs. My pitch is about corruption to begin with, but that's not where I'm going to stop, because that's just the beginning. That's clearing the bush, but then the trail has to be blazed afresh.
The recent controversy, the forest minister openly saying that they actually lied about having met the late chief
They'll
minister.
have to accept one lie after another now. And I hope that there is an investigation and more lies come out.
When Jayalalitha was alive, we didn't see you so active in politics. What changed after that?
Because it's utter chaos. They say that it's because I didn't dare. But then what was that case between Rajkamal Films and State of Tamil Nadu? Is that not a direct challenge? Be it in favor of a film and in self-defense. Who am I and what am I fighting against? It's a government versus one man. That's a strong enough voice. And I've made my voice clear even before. It might be for some other politician or somebody who's mishandled, ill-treated. I've always voiced while she was there. They've forgotten it.
Was that the flashpoint?
No, even before. There was a time when Mr. Karunanidhi was arrested, and it was done without any dignity. I was there to voice. I was the first voice to come out. And while she was alive on the floods, I spoke again.
Many would also like to know, what is Kamal Haasan's strategy to fight corruption in Tamil Nadu? You focus so much on corruption. Say, for example, people pay even 1,000 rupees to get a simple license. So what system will you put in place to make sure this is eradicated?
If I'm setting up certain alarm systems, do you think I'll be willing to divulge it here on television? Suppose an income tax department is planning a raid. They'll never ever divulge when and how. So those are things that will remain secret till it comes out later, archived and comes out later. Till then, it'll have to remain a secret.
In Kerala, you said saffron is not your color. You did go and meet the left leaders. Which is the path that Mr. Kamal Haasan is planning to take? Is it likely that you have been more critical of the AIADMK than the DMK, some would say. Is it likely that you could actually align with them?
No, I said there will be no contagion. So I would like to stick to that statement. And I will go and pick good wherever it is. Because when DMK started, they had some fantastic plans and schemes and order. The cadres and how they formulated it into a party. There are things to be learned. That's where it will stop.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamal Haasan. Wish you all the best, and we do hope your fight against corruption and communalism certainly takes you very much forward, and Tamil Nadu too.
I hope so too. Thank you. Namaste.